This second presentation of UFO, a Fractured Reality, will bring further incredible factors to your notice to take you deeper into the nature of consciousness and personal reality framing. There is much to be examined and considered, including the purpose of UFO surveillance. Be assured that in time, a prodigious human consciousness will reveal pathways to outer space never before explored or imagined. Are UFOs, flying saucers, or alien craft science fiction or fact? Much has been written on UFOs. Some books and reports are truly inspirational. Some stories sensational, and some statements very scary with alleged physical interference and secret government cover-ups. What can we believe? How can we sort out the real from the fantasy? Much speculation and presumptions exist, but all or any story needs to be scrutinized carefully for rationality and truth. Because in the reality spectrum, this is super science and quantum cognition. Actually, the study of UFOs is regarded by skeptics and science educators alike very much like an official example of pseudoscience or total bunkum. But there is more to the story, and no doubt truth is stranger than fiction. It is alleged that visitations of UFOs have taken place throughout history, with many cultural legends, myths, and folk tales still circulating today. Controversially, roughly from the 1950s and 1980s, there was much talk about alien abductions and physical examination. Each contactee told a different story, much of it pieced together through hypnosis. The often traumatic experiences caused much confusion and panic. Support groups were set up and meetings were held in secret for fear of further ridicule and mockery. We know that much of any personal statement was considered conjecture or a fantasy by the general population. But dare we consider the examination of human nature and conditions possible? Even now, UFOs may be seen over hot zones and testing stations, nuclear plants, and other areas of scientific interest. It is inexplicable that the alien intelligence is able to read, communicate, and erase personal thought by way of volition. Memories of abductees, therefore, often have been vague through the fracturing of mind or consciousness. Be aware that the splitting of consciousness will automatically set off a physical panic button by the dire mental conclusion that death is imminent. This trauma and biological repositioning can also happen with the forcing of astral travel or an out-of-body experience when one is not prepared. Aliens are sure to come in all shapes and sizes, superior intelligence or not. The how and why they enter Earth's region and atmosphere may be presumed by logical reasoning of surveillance and planetary monitoring. This may be a poor family photo, but by all reports the greys, small humanoids with large almond-shaped eyes, 3 to 4 feet tall have been the most encountered. Often remembered are also the Nordic types, tall, blonde hair, blue eyes, who seem more authoritative. Nordic types look suspiciously like Northern Europeans. There we consider that according to the Bible, Genesis 6, 1-4, the sons of God had intimate contact with daughters of man at the dawn of civilization. It is likely that our real history and development is kind of blurry and held secret for fear of misunderstanding. Yet, if wished for, one could always read through the ponderous book of Urantia on planetary principles and development. But dare we believe this massive narrative and incredibly detailed revelation? Do take a look. A UFO religion or cult now claiming over 1,000 of members worldwide is Raelism, declaring that life on Earth was not a result of evolution and random chance, but a scientific creation by fathers from space who understood genetics and biology. This theory is considered controversial and totally absurd by most. Do consider, though, that our very own current research into genetic phasing and cloning can also be seen as scary, immoral, and unethical. Yet, no doubt, doctors and scientists are fascinated by this exciting new phase of possibility. Should this research be halted? Where are we going with this? A dilemma indeed. Consider that active minds have picked up galactic clues. Perhaps the time has come to re-evaluate our very own human perception and belief levels. We do know that some leaders of spiritual and UFO groups have made mistakes by proposing ridiculous issues like transport to another planet or entering another level of reality through suicide, or by proposing to dematerialize the body, which cannot sensibly and logically eventuate without probing the principles of a physical death. Consider also that the alien messages of truth are brought in telepathically, thus filtered through a human conviction and personal ideas. This is likely to distort a clear reception for some with grandiose illusions. It truly pays to be highly skeptical. Gullibility has no place in this our 21st century. So, is it all fake news then? Illusions of grandeur, pomp and ceremony? There is no doubt that amongst a resounding and genuine concerto of truth, education and enlightenment today, there will also be the many lies and deception. Do question everything. We are not alone. There are certain to be millions more life carriers through planetary space, giving rise to much speculation and absurd fantasies. The science fiction film producers have done their best to keep us entertained with dramatic and often ludicrous alien invasions. An indication towards this can be seen through movies complete with dramatized heroic fighting and mind-shattering acrobatics. Much is possible now, and some of this scenario may be indicative of the future, including reality suspension, gateways to another dimension, transformation, invisibility, time travel, and more. Even though all storylines are dramatically enhanced to keep us entertained with nail-biting suspense, the reality of another life force and galactic travel is now not far from being accepted as possible. Truth will take us deeper into the nature of reality. So, how do we know what is possible and what is bunkum? Is truth solid? How is reality explained? What is consciousness? What are we but consciousness exploring an ever-changing reality? Our consciousness goes on even when physicality stops. Our trusted Wikipedia reported that explicit operational activities for investigation and scientific research of UFOs is challenged by the facts the phenomena are unpredictable, not reproducible, and lacks intangible physicality. Tangible physicality may be the key word here. Yet, energy is interchangeable, and consciousness is an energy factor. Einstein said, "Everything is energy, and that is all there is to it." Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. Physicality and the material state is not all there is. This is much of a simplification. What frequency are we currently on? This is where the demystification takes hold, because an outer world reality seen through different frequencies may be experienced as a holograph picture. Take hold of it and it slips through your fingers, doesn't it? Nothing. Yet something is there, vibratory and alerting our consciousness. So any reality may be multidimensional and can be experienced on different levels by a higher consciousness or by highly evolved species. Consider that consciousness under different conditions, such as during a UFO experience or a near-death experience, will operate separately from the body, but will still be attached to the personality. In the lore of the ancient wisdom, do we not talk of an astral body or a mental body which can move from a common plane of existence to another plane, each time into a finer vibration, finer atomic structure, or higher consciousness? All of this may be news to you or not, but why do they come? Most likely it is surveillance and concern for our planet. Many UFO contactees have spoken up about being shown potential future scenarios, devastation, wars, fires, catastrophes, with a strong message, the dire need for change. As it is, the world has woken up to a devastating pandemic. Tornadoes, fires, droughts and floods have ravaged the countryside, and threats of further destruction looms as scientists, politicians and business argue over possible causes. The signs have been ominous already for many years. We cannot say we've not been warned of consequence and possible damage. No doubt, systemic change will be most difficult, but millions are suffering. This need not be. Evolution is moving us into a greater reality spectrum and quantum cognition. Myths and legends have shaped and educated our world. Perhaps it is time that the magical stories of the past be re-examined. For instance, Santa Claus is not real, and the Easter Bunny will not bring us chocolate eggs without human intervention. The responsibility for a wonderful life and further action is all ours. We need to realize that we are the magic. We are the instigators. We bring in the conducive energy that brings in the results at all times. Now is the time to realize that the invisible and sustaining magic of our quantum science and, yes, a multi-dimensional reality. Santa has served his purpose. He cannot now be relied upon. As is, the space age has well and truly begun. Many rockets are launched, hoping for further dominion and riches. Being unable to see into other realms, we cannot acknowledge any other life force or existence in the vast reaches of outer space. At this stage, much may be speculated. The needed research and observation is taking place on both sides. Limited but increasing opportunities for bilateral and human-initiated contact will occur in the reasonable near future. As for the increasing frequent reports around the world of sightings of aliens and UFOs, do regard these with a healthy combination of both interest and skepticism, until the definite and unassailable facts and details come to light. Remember, the most important thing is not an obsession with aliens and their purported spacecraft, but to helping, healing, and serving humanity, lest we destroy this beautiful planet Earth with all of its riches and beauty. Our prodigious human consciousness will reveal a path and personal connection. Do not harass others who do not believe. Time will expose the greater truth.